morning and good evening, depending on where you are in the world.
Hello.
And good morning to you, Mr. Tony.
Good morning, Miss Blue. How are you today, lovely?
I'm good. I'm awake now.
That's the hard part.
Yes. Sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle, but we're awake.
We're awake. We're here. We're
awake.
on time.
We are. We're not 12 hours late.
Or early.
No. But we've got some people in chat already. We've got Going Slowly Nowhere. Hello. We've got Elaine Lucia. Hello, darling. Rebecca's Suburban Hillbilly and Claire. Hello.
Hello.
So today, this being the last live of the year, we decided that it would be a good idea to...
Oh, sorry.
To chat about how some of the best ways that you can use your Christmas leftovers, because every year there is an expected 7 million tons of food wastage in this country alone.
I will guarantee you it's 2 to 3 times more here.
Yeah. And that's a lot. And considering that people are struggling as badly as they are right now, to me, that's downright criminal.
Yeah.
You know, but we all buy stuff and expect to use it, and then we don't use it, or we buy too much, or we've got all this stuff left over because people are too busy talking, not enough eating going on, and whatever the reason, there's usually quite a few leftovers. Now, last year I did a video, and if you want to have a look at that, the link is down below. I've got my Waste Not, Want Not playlist down there. I've got my leftovers playlist down there, and I've also got the video that I did where I used my Christmas leftovers last year as well. Now, when I did mine last year, we had enough food that if we did nothing else, we could have eaten those for 16 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. Because if you do turn your leftovers, funnily enough, into other meals, they actually stretch a lot further than you think they're going to. You know, so hi, Annette. Good to see you, darling.
Hello. I have a US statistic if you want it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It is estimated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, so it's U.S. only, that between 30 and 40% of the U.S. of the food supply goes to waste each year in the U.S., with the heaviest losses occurring during the holiday season. Yeah. From a volume perspective, 70 billion pounds of food waste reaches U.S. landfills each year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
And yet we have hundreds of millions of people that starve each year too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
I mean, honestly, it really, really doesn't. We've got Milk and Honey Heritage Farms in the house.
Hello, Heather.
Hello. How you doing, darling? So, this year we've gone a little bit different. Normally at this time of the year, we go and buy a joint of everything. We get a joint of lamb, we get a joint of beef, we get a joint of turkey, we get ham, we get all of the things. And so we end up with loads, because then I can make meals out of that for the coming months, weeks, whatever. So if we get hit with anything, we're cool because we've got the meals in, right? So, and that's really important. Now, we didn't eat all of those all at once this year.
Why not?
Well, because we didn't need to. But we used our last one in mid-October.
Oh.
Yeah. We used our last one in mid-October, which is pretty cool. You know, so we had meals that if I wasn't well enough to cook, we could have just pulled out the freezer and put in the oven because I did them all in foil containers. I know I'm trying to move to having glass ones and getting silicone lids for those. That is something that I'm going to be on top of, and probably what my budget is going to be for this year is getting some of those, more of those in, because I don't want to be using the foils if I don't have to. But, you know, at the moment, you use what you've got. And that's what we've got. We've got foils. So
and the unfortunate part, you know, when I gave like that statistic and what you said, you know, people need to realize that's just food we're talking about.
Yeah,
think
that's
of all
just
these
food
other
wastage.
things that we're wasting each year. You know, like you said, the foils, the wraps, things like that, the paper. Think of the amount of just wrapping paper that is just thrown away each year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you're a gardener,
yes,
that can go on the compost.
Now, can it though? Because there are some papers with foils in them and
well,
plastic.
not the foil ones. The foil ones can't, but the normal paper ones, they can actually go in the compost. So that is something.
Sorry.
Annette wants to tell you, Tony, that your crackers are really tasty, lol.
I don't know what she's talking about. Can you help me?
I'm not sure.
I think she's saying U.S. crackers are tasty because I've never made crackers, so I'm going to go with that's what she's saying. So,
okay, fair enough.
Or she's talking about me. I'm a funny cracker, you know.
Well, you may be.
I don't know.
Yeah, you could be. I mean, you know, it just depends on the dip.
Dun-dun-dun.
All good.
Oh, there's a good idea.
That's a great idea. That's something else that I want to be making as well is the fabric covers coats with beeswax to reuse. Now, I've seen a couple of different ways of doing that. There's ones that are just pure beeswax, but there's other ones that include pine resin because apparently that keeps it softer.
Really?
And it doesn't crack as much, apparently.
Are you talking about pliability?
Yeah, pliability.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got a question now that she says that because it's something that's intriguing to me. Remember back in the old days where our grandmothers and our mothers and our great grandmothers would use wax to cover a container. And you do that with beeswax?
Yes. If they used to use paraffin wax, though.
True.
It was paraffin wax. Like the paraffin wax discs that you can put on top of jam and chutneys and things.
Right. Now I know what she's talking about because she did send a video and it says Kettles crackers, I think, or something like that. That's what she's talking about. Now I get it.
Right. Okay. Okie dokie.
I wish they were mine and Annette, but they're not. So, but I'll take credit for it.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, that's something that you can do as well if you want to start looking at reducing your waste, etc. Not just from a food level, but from a everything level. I've seen some really nicely wrapped up gifts that have got that are wrapped up in pieces of fabric or scarves. Things like that, you know, that's an option.
I should talk to Heather about getting some beeswax for my beading. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, see
connections. Sorry, I sidetracked you way off of subject. I apologize.
A little bit, but that's okay. That's all cool. So, you know, I mean, this coming year, one of my biggest focuses is going to be on less waste. So that's going to be less food waste, less actual waste, less waste. Okay. Right. Finding ways to use some of the stuff that we buy on the regular that has, you know, containers. Mm-hmm. Some of that stuff is out of my control because it's stuff that Tanny gets, and some of it is not so much,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
some of it is convenience. I mean, some of what
yeah,
you end up with
absolutely.
is based off convenience. So
Absolutely, you know, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. So, you know, that's actually really cool, Heather. Stop using
yes.
garbage service 10 years ago. Go to the recycle every 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah,
We're not
that's
allowed to
awesome.
do that.
Ooh. But we kind of live in an urban environment, so it's kind of
No, I get the reasoning, but I wish I could do that, but we're not allowed to do that.
I can understand that.
Now that is a cup of coffee, my friend.
Oh, good grief. Good grief. Well, you know how I bought all those lemons and limes and things earlier this year?
I've been waiting for you to say something about all these because I know you spent a lot of time in things you did, so I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I kept a packet of each in the freezer of the slices that I did, and they came in handy for drinks.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just popped them into drinks and they worked as ice because we didn't get any ice and I didn't have time to make any ice. So we popped them in the drinks as ice.
That's a little poshy, isn't it?
It is a little bougie, isn't it? But you know what? When you're making your own stuff,
right,
and you're finding ways to use stuff that you get cheap and you've got a lot of it, say you've bought a glut or something, or you did what we did, we go to Kirkgate Market in Leeds and the fruit and veg guys there have cases of stuff for like $2. You go and buy it, you want to make as much use as possible of it. Right. That's one thing that you can do. You can do that kind of thing and have like a container in the freezer of pre-sliced things like oranges, lemons, limes, tangerines, all of the thing. Blue said it again. I love it. Bougie.
I think bougie. That's
so
funny.
You get to do these things, and when you don't normally think, you know, what can I do with it? So I mean, there's only so much lemon curd you can eat. There's only so much lime curd you can eat. There's only so much orange marmalade you can eat. You know, you probably in a year, probably like the average people will probably maybe go through 6 jars of each, whatever flavor jam they've got, right? Unless it's a particular one that they really, really love and they use in their cooking and stuff. But if it's just on toast and pancakes or waffles or whatever, they probably don't go through as much as they think they might. And they might end up with like 20 jars of something sitting on the cupboard in the pantry for years. So I tend to not make much more than about 8 jars or anything.
Really?
Because it's not worth it. When it comes down to stuff like that, it's not worth it because we just won't go through it. So it's not really worth it for us. So I have to find other ways. So one thing that I did this year, if you had a look on my Instagram, was I candied up a container of each of lemon and lime slices, but also lemon peel. Right. Now, one of the things that is used a lot during the holidays is mixed peel that we buy to go into fruit cakes and puddings and all of that, fruit mints and all of that kind of stuff. And it can end up being really expensive. Plus, they don't just have sugar and water in them.
Right.
They have other things in them. And it's not quite as healthy as you think it might be. And as much as sugar isn't probably the best thing to be using,
right,
you're going to use a lot less of it, and it's going to be a lot better for you if you use the ones that you make yourself. Now, what I really love about doing the candied peels and stuff is that, and the slices, is that if you wanted to, you can dip them in chocolate and give them away as gifts.
Right.
That's a really, really good one. or if you're making strips of the peels and you have different jars of them, if you need fruit mince, you get all your jars down and you just chop it up, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and make your own mix.
Right.
That has all of the things that you love in it. What have we got? I've got some stuff. And the new year, I'm going to have a big declutter and get rid of anything we don't use or haven't used in the last 12 months. Time for a simpler life.
Yep.
That's very cool. Just make sure it's not something that you might use every 5 years.
Good point.
Okay.
Valid point. That is a valid point.
It's a very valid point. Now, The reason that I say that is that we have a meat slicer and we probably use it twice a year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once a year. Tends to be around the holidays, and it tends to be when we have things like the hams and the turkey and the beef and that kind of stuff. So we're making slices up. So we've got sliced cooked meat in the freezer ready to go that we can just pull out and either have for sandwiches, for Tanny for lunches, or to take to work with him, or we can make into other meals. You can cook it off in gravy and just have it. If you don't have enough money to get yourself a roast dinner for the Sunday, you can pull out your slices of meat for that and then just cook it off in some gravy to heat it through, which is a lot less time to do that than it is to roast off a meal anyway. So then all you're worrying about is your veg. But maybe seeing how to make a meal into a different meal afterwards help people. Absolutely. And if you have a look down in my description below, I have 2 playlists that show exactly that. There's one that's called Leftovers and one that's called Waste Not Want Not. And there is the video that I did last year of the meals that I made with the Christmas leftovers last year.
Which was a ton of food you made.
It was a ton of food. Hi, Elaine.
And that's not to say that you go out and wastefully spend money on Christmas food.
No, we don't.
It's what was left over because you didn't have as much food disappear as you thought, things like that.
But we also, as I said, we purposefully buy a joint of each type of meat.
Right. I'm just saying without that in mind, yours was not a wasteful Christmas. It just didn't get eaten as much as you expected it to.
No, but we didn't expect it all to get eaten either because we bought as much as we did.
Right.
Particularly for putting it through the meat slicer and having sliced meat, chopping some of it, shredding some of it, making it into other meals. If you make quiches or pies or anything like that, we made a shepherd's pie. I believe last year it was
named after Tony Shepard, of course.
And I kind of explained in there why they're called different things. Okay, so a shepherd's pie is made with lamb.
I was joking. I didn't see. I'm not trying to create additional conversation for you. I was just being smarty pants. So go ahead.
It's just something that is a little bit icky for me because it's like some people call cottage pie and it should be a shepherd's pie, or they call it shepherd's pie and it should be a cottage pie. But there is a third one that's called a country pie that is vegetarian.
Right.
And it's exactly the same.
Okay. So I'll ask, you answer.
Yeah.
What is in a traditional shepherd's pie?
Lamb, gravy, veg, and it's topped with mashed potato.
Lamb is in a traditional shepherd's pie. What is in a cottage pie?
Beef.
Same process, except
same process.
Now, is that ground beef or chunk beef? Okay.
It's mostly ground up because it's supposed to go further.
Okay.
It's supposed to make that piece of meat go a bit further. Traditionally, it was something that was cooked on a Wednesday. And the reason it was done on the Wednesday was because you got your joint of meat on the Sunday.
Right.
And you had your roast dinner. Then on the Monday, you had your second roast dinner. On Tuesday, you would have possibly a pastry covered pie, or So, or you would have your shepherd's pie or bit cottage pie, whatever. Right. But that tended to be more towards Wednesday, Thursday, when you had less meat, but it had to go further. So to make it go further, they would grind it up through the mill.
And the thought process being that if you made it on Wednesday, Thursday, that would hopefully get you through to Sunday.
Yes.
When you got your next joint of meat, which would start the process all over again.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So, and then the last one would be hash. So that would be like a bubble and squeak. So you would have your potatoes, your cabbage, whatever leftover veg, and a bit of the meat all thrown in together, and that would be hash, and you'd have that on the Saturday.
And it would bubble and it would squeak.
And it would bubble and squeak as it's cooking, yes.
And what was the other one, the vegetarian one? Sorry.
At the country pie.
Country pie. Okay.
Country pie, because it comes from the country, because it's all the veg.
So there's shepherd's pie, there's cottage pie, there's country pie, there's hash, or we're going to say bubble and squeak.
Yes.
But that would be done.
Is just cabbage, potatoes, and veg. Okay.
Right.
But hash is, and it's normally done with mashed potato rather than potatoes or whole cooked potatoes that have been cut into pieces, whereas the hash would be cut into pieces and fried off in more of a mix, and then you just add gravy into it if that's what you want.
Okay.
Just to make it go a bit further.
Thank you for that explanation. We now know.
You're welcome. But there are so many things you can do, and I've done quite a few different videos actually on different things that you can do with your leftovers, as far as making a Hi Wendy, how are you? From Hardneck Farms is in the house.
I think she has a new channel called Mrs. Hardneck Farms.
Oh, yeah, she has, and it's actually quite groovy. Yeah. Suburban Hillbilly says everything in my laundry room is piled in the middle of the kitchen floor. Vacuums, mops, brooms, baskets, hampers. I can barely walk in there today, and I have a huge pork shoulder to cook. Bless you.
Yes, I seen that. I'm sorry to hear that. So, okay, question then on the shepherd pie conversation. You didn't mention pork.
No. Now, pork's a tricky one.
Okay.
You can do things like make pies with it. Like I do what I call a roast dinner pie. Okay. Where I get whatever is the roast of the week, or, you know, if it's leftovers from Christmas, I might get turkey. I might use some of the chicken that I've used for stock. I might chuck in some ham or some pork or something, and a little bit of everything, plus the roast vegetables. And if there's any steamed vegetables, and that will have gravy.
Is that Bam laughing in the background?
It is Bam laughing.
Sorry, I thought I was like, where did you get a chicken? Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
32 years ago would be the answer to that. But yeah, I tend to then, because we use a lot of mashed veg, like we will mash carrot and swede, or I think you guys call it rutabaga together, or we'll have carrot and parsnip. I'll use a small layer of that underneath the pastry so that the pastry doesn't go soggy from the gravy.
Oh, okay.
So I make it like a just a pastry topped pie kind of thing.
So it's like it would be like a pot pie minus the bottom crust. That basically is
there's no bottom crust on it. I just do a top.
Okay.
And that way it works. You get your crunchy, crispy pastry, but you don't need to worry about it all being soggy underneath.
Okay.
And it holds better.
So my question then, and I didn't mean to stretch that out that long. I thought you would have an easy answer to it. Nothing against you, because I understand why you went through it that way.
Yeah.
Cottage pie, country pie, shepherd's pie. There's no pork pie that's like that?
Not really. Now, okay,
Okay.
so pork, what we tend to do is I will put it in the stir fry, and use it in like egg fried rice, or I will use it with, like, if I've made plum sauce, there'll be plum sauce in the cupboard, then I will use some of that and put that with some veg and some rice, and we'll have, or noodles, and we'll have that for a different meal. The pork for us tends to be left sliced, and we'll have it with things like roast pork and gravy rolls.
Okay.
Which is why I've highlighted this.
But is that because the pork has a tendency to have more oil in it, and it makes it harder for it to set together? Is that the reason?
No, I think it's more because it's not something that's more traditional as far as pies are concerned. If you're going to have a pork pie, it's got to be cooked from raw.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's different.
Otherwise, it would dry it out, right?
Otherwise, it can go really, really dry, and you just don't want that. So we tend to leave it and slice it off,
and use it as roast pork gravy and rolls, and
roast pork gravy rolls, or
it just typically was not an option. Then is basically what you're saying, because it would be utilized in a different way.
Absolutely. I like this idea though. Pork shoulder, coleslaw.
Everybody likes that idea.
That's yum.
Okay. So now I've steered you away off course, and you're over in the US now. Would you like to come back to the UK and get back on point?
Okay. Yeah. See, the other thing is that you can use things like your leftover meats and stuff to make ragouts. So tomato-based sauces.
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
And just you can either, if you can either can them in the way that you prefer to. I know some of you would prefer to pressure can them.
Right.
But I'm happy enough to water bath them. I'll just stick them in the water bath for 3 hours. That's all good for me. That's, and then they're on the cup on the thing. So, that's something that we can grab out and use, or we'll just put it in little buckets in the freezer.
Right.
So it's ready to use. But pork does work that way. You can do pork that way, but you have to grind it up. It really does need to be minced off, because otherwise it will dry out, and it's not pleasant. Dry pork is not nice. Let's be honest.
No, I agree with you, and I concur with what you're saying.
Yeah. Pork fat rolls. Yes. So does beef fat. Tallow is good too. And over here, if you know your local butcher, you can go in and say to them, have you got any beef fat? And 9 times out of 10, they'll go, yes. How much do you want? And take it all.
Right.
Well, you can actually make your own tallow, and they will probably charge you nothing, because otherwise they have to pay to get rid of it.
Right.
Yeah. We should do a leftovers collab.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, but we will do that after Christmas next year. It is something that I've actually spoken
and plan it out, and we'll discuss it. Yes.
It is something that I've already spoken to Tony about for after Christmas for next year, after the holiday season. So maybe in the first week of January it might kick off, but only do like a couple of weeks. I don't want to do a whole month. She's joking. I'm not. We've already discussed this.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, and that is because my channel this year will be very focused on zero waste food and leftovers, and how to use them, and how to use all your food in as many ways as possible, so that you are not chucking it out and getting rid of it, because I just feel that is something that's very important, especially for a lot of people that are struggling right now. They're not sure how, because let me just get my words right here. Okay. It's taken 3 generations and people have forgotten how to cook from scratch. 3 generations.
What?
In this country, it's taken 3 generations for people to forget how to cook from scratch. It's not taught in schools as a regular thing anymore, as home economics was. A lot of those classes are now seen as voluntary or, as a choice. And if they don't have more than 12 kids, they're not going to run the class. So there's a lot of years go by and they're not run anymore. And then you're getting more and more people who are having to go back to work. They don't have time to do it, or they don't feel they have the time to put into it that they used to do. And so they're not doing it. They're picking up the easy to grab meals. There's a lot of ready meals. Is a big culture over here of ready meals, whether they're fresh ones. We tend to have 2 or 3 aisles of ready meals in this country in the supermarket.
You guys have a store over there that is primarily frozen food.
We have 2 of them.
Right.
We have one that's called Farm Foods and one that is called Iceland, but they are also they're changing their stores over to what's called Farm Foods. There is a third one that's called Heron Foods, and their stuff is predominantly seconds.
What do you mean by that?
Broken fish fingers and things.
Oh, something that wouldn't pass as premium.
Yeah, stuff that wouldn't pass as premium. Okay. So my big push this year is going to be definitely doing a lot more zero waste food, using the leftovers, using what we have, making as much as I can from scratch. If I find deals, I'm going to buy up the deals and do what I can with those, because obviously we live in an urban environment. So it's a little harder to grow everything that we possibly need. My garden is predominantly used for things that we can't buy, or it's difficult to buy, or are incredibly expensive to buy.
Right.
So that's what I put in my garden. So I have things out there like ocker and Jerusalem artichokes, which I still haven't dug up.
Ocker? What's that?
Ocker is another little tube. It's a little tuber like this. It's about that size.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like a yam.
Okay.
But it's not a yam. But
never heard of it before.
You can ferment them, you can pickle them, you can cook them, you can roast them, you can steam them, you can do whatever you want with them.
Okay.
But it's a starchy little vegetable, and it does really well. It's really, really yummy.
And it's ocker. That's how you pronounced it.
OCA.
Okay.
OCA. Yeah. Okay. So I've got those, and I've got Jerusalem artichokes, which will literally take over the garden. And that's fine. They're allowed to do that. But it means that if I want to get things like watermelon radish, for example, which is the fancy big globe one that's green on the outside and red on the inside. Now, if I wanted to buy those, I would have to get them from a very fancy greengrocers in London and get them shipped up at the cost of £5 each. I can buy a packet of seeds for 30p.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? I would rather grow those. I can buy the little radishes for 50p a packet. That doesn't bother me. That's not something that I'm going to worry about growing, because I can still pick them up readily and cheaply. I don't tend to buy potatoes. I don't tend to grow potatoes because we don't eat them enough.
And for the price of what you need it for, it's fairly okay.
Exactly. Right. Now, as you guys know, I did a series of videos at the beginning of this month on how the top 10 ways of preserving certain vegetables that are more traditionally used in Christmas dinners and things like that. So there is a lot of different information there. I still have 2 blogs to put up. The reason that I didn't finish the series and the reason that I didn't finish my Vlogmas as I'd wanted to, because I got COVID. Dun, dun, dun! And I'm still recovering from that. Tanny's still recovering from that. We have been very, very ill. And there was no way that I could do the videos. And to be honest, I couldn't do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do. Some of the stuff I'm saving to do for New Year's because I just didn't have energy to do it. But that's the thing. It's like we want to do all this stuff, and that's partly where the wastage comes in, because if you get sick, well, then you can't do it. So what do you do then? Well, right. I've still got all these ingredients. Now I have to find a way to use them. Yesterday, for the first time ever, I'd seen the crescent rolls in a tube thing. And I picked them up just before Christmas because I thought, you know what? I could probably use them for something. We're going to have all of these things that can go in something. This would be interesting to do. So what we did yesterday, we had a movie night and I turned them into pizza scrolls. Mm-hmm. So I just used a couple of spoons of pasta sauce, the red pasta sauce, and used that as my base, some grated cheese, ham and pineapple for Bam, pepperoni for Tanny, and I just had one of each because there's 6 in a tin thing.
Right.
Because I really don't care what goes on mine. I'm not that fussy. I really don't care. So
I'm not either.
It just didn't bother me, but it was quick, it was simple, and it was something that we could do because I'd had those things in the house. Now, do I normally buy them? No. Have I ever seen them before? No.
And that shocked the whole heck out of me, okay? I was shocked when you told me that. I was like, what? You've never seen them?
Never seen them before. Never. I have seen the cinnamon scroll ones, cinnamon roll ones, and they tend to, when I get those, and it's very rare that I buy them, just for the record, it's something that I tend to buy when I have to be in the mood, so it might be once every 2 years.
Right.
Okay. But they go in the waffle maker.
I get that. I do. I think
they go in the waffle maker for me.
I get it. But I think, for people that don't know how to bake or are intimidated by it, okay?
Yeah.
Over here, you can get crescent rolls, you can get grand rolls, which are really flaky rolls. You can get just normal ones, you can get whatever. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. But using them for different...
Sweltering under here. Sorry, keep talking.
She's sweltering in the volcanic heat right now.
Whew. Oh my goodness.
Anyways, the beauty of that type of product, though, for somebody that doesn't know how to bake, doesn't want to bake, or is intimidated by it, there is so much versatility. Huh?
Or doesn't have the time to put into the pastry.
It is a convenience that you can utilize in so many things. Just like you said, it's a crescent roll, but you made pizza out of it. The regular rolls, all you can make monkey bread out of it. You can make garlic knots out of it. You can chop it up and put it in chicken soup and make chicken and dumplings with it. I mean, it's there as an alternative. Just because Blue, am I pointing in the right way?
Yeah, you're pointing in the right way.
Okay. Just because she doesn't know it, she does from scratch. So it's understandable you weren't out looking for something like that, you know? So I get it.
However, like when it comes to the holidays and stuff, if I haven't been making a lot of pastry during the year, because now when I do pastry during the year, I will do a 4 batch.
Mm-hmm.
3 of those go in the freezer.
Right, because you'll use them.
So, because I'll use, I don't want to use them right now, but I've obviously got stuff in. I may as well do it right now. Then I've got 3 to go in the freezer, and I can use them whenever I want them. And all I have to do is defrost them and roll them out. and go for it. So, you know, that's how I do it. But I haven't done a lot of baking this year. And the baking that I have done has been for things like Tanny's pies to go to work with. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for me to get the pre-rolled pastry because when I do make those, I'm making 30 or 40 of them at a time.
Right.
You know, so that he can just go in. I can go and grab 2 in the morning and stick them in the oven and they're ready for him to take to work.
Right.
But yes, it's convenience. Do I want to stand there and make enough pastry for 40 of his pies? No. It's the polite answer.
Right.
You know, that's the polite answer. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get today, right?
Okay.
But it is something that I'm going to work towards this year is making my own pastry, having a stock of it. Because what I prefer... Oh, hi, Raph! My sissy's in the house. Hello, darling. But my pies are cute. Yes, they are. They're cute. Yeah, so...
Did you get sidetracked?
I have got sidetracked.
So you were talking...
a second, because I need to see what's going on in chat. So Annette says one of my goals for 2024 is to cook and bake more from scratch, hence why I've set myself a baking challenge. Well done. Awesome. That's really, really cool, right? And you're in control of what goes into what you're baking as well, which is really important for you.
Right.
Do they throw away perfectly good produce over there because it's ugly like they do in the US? Yes, they do. However, if you know your local farmers,
right,
or if you are brave enough to knock at the front door of where you know that they've been doing harvests and you can see that there's piles of vegetables or whatever in the field, you can go up to the front door and ask them if they would mind if you gleaned some or bought some off them. Now, most farmers will turn around to you and say, fill your boots.
Right.
You don't need to pay us anything because all that's going to happen to it is going to get plowed back into the field.
Right.
So you can fill your car. And I have a friend that does this because he lives in the middle of the leek farms. So he goes out with his car. His son fills the car because he sits in it because he's getting on now. So his son fills the car up, and everybody in the family has leeks for a year, and it hasn't cost them anything except a bit of petrol.
Right.
You know. So if you do have farmers around there or around you that you can actually go to and go, well, actually, are you going to be using that veg? Do you mind if we get some from you? They would prefer that you go to the farm gate and just ask them because honestly, number one, it's going to be cheaper than even the farm shop down the road where they sell their stuff from is, because the guy who buys it for the farm shop is going to put his stuff on top. But the guy who buys it from the farm to give it to the farm shop is also going to put his on top. So you're going to end up, paying extra for the middleman and the farm shop if it's not attached to the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's better off. You're better off going to the farm and talking to the farmer, and the farmer going, fill your car. Okay, crack on. Rather see someone eat it than it go to waste. And there's been so much of that over here. It's been ridiculous.
Right.
Rebecca says, I love brie wrapped in crescent roll dough. So good with some dried fruit. Yes. That I could see how that would work. We tend to use a lot of puff pastry for that over here.
Puff pastry.
More than crescent roll pastry, because like I said, it's not something that's normal over here. It's not something that I've seen on the regular. So, yeah. Oh,
I have seen it.
How are you doing? Dude, it's good to see you.
I've also seen brie done with phyllo dough, too.
Yes. Absolutely, phyllo dough. This time of the year, let's be honest, a lot of us have got a lot of things to do. And if we haven't if we haven't actually been saving up pastry in the freezers over the year, there's a lot of stuff that we can do very, very quickly with ready rolled, ready-made pastry. So we tend to buy a bit. We tend to buy it, and we buy it up because we can use it. It's very quick. It's quick to do meals. You can do things like you can do galettes with it. A piece of ready rolled pastry into a square, and you've got and some tomatoes, some feta, some tomato sauce, whatever, and you've got yourself a really beautiful galette with basil on it. Obviously it's the wrong time of year, but you can do the same thing and put like pickled carrots and a bit of this and a bit of that and do a bit of something.
You can also take cream cheese with some homemade jam on top of that. And bacon.
Homemade chili jam would be really nice.
Chili, yes.
Oh, don't. And he says no farms near me would have to drive around 2 to 4 hours. Yeah, but there are ways. Yeah. And have a look out there, because I'm pretty sure that you may have a freegan society in Perth. Now, freegans are people that go around their local area gleaning free food. Okay, so whether it's shops that have got overstock and they're getting rid of, whether it's markets, whether it's individuals who've grown it, whatever, will tend to do that. I would have a look for that. Have a look for that in your area. I used to feel sickened when at the end of the day, Tesco's amongst others throw out all the leftover baked goods. There's shelters that could benefit from that. Yes. Now, Tesco's, for one, I do know that they are giving it away now to food banks. It is going to food banks if there are ones in the area where they are that are willing to come and pick it up.
Right.
You're so welcoming. Wendy, Dogmother and I have known each other for probably 5-6 years. We used to be stream buddies on Twitch and used to game very similar games and stuff. So we've been friends for a lot of years, and he is a great guy and an amazing artist, can I just say. Rebecca says, my refrigerator died 2 months ago. Husband was out of town and my back was out. I lost everything in it. I'm still refilling it slowly, a little each week. That sucks. Oh, jam. I used to love a green plum jam I could get in Mallorca. Green plums, Mallorca.
Yeah. I'm sitting here like, Majorca. What is that? Sorry.
There's a lot of people over here that call it Majorca.
Majorca, okay.
But it's Mallorca.
And where is that at by chance?
Spain-ish, Mediterranean, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry, I just never heard of it. I don't want to be the,
Yeah, it's definitely American a holiday destination. It's very much a holiday destination.
Okay.
Wendy says, I'm so hungry now. I'm peeling potatoes to seal with black garlic. Oh. You're welcome, Annie. Yeah, do some research and also look for places that, like, groups on Facebook and stuff in your area that do like an edible food exchange, because they're everywhere. It has changed a bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm good. Sorry.
It's fine. It's not a problem. So yeah.
So can I give you a couple ideas of things I will do with leftovers?
Please do. Okay. Please do.
So one thing we're going to actually do tonight is make I think tonight, but one way or the other.
Yeah.
A chicken or turkey or goose corn chowder.
Oh, nice.
Almost for us specifically at this house, all the ingredients we need are right here already.
Yeah.
So why not utilize it?
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing that we're doing tonight, we're doing a waffle bar.
And that's a great idea. You said it, and I was like,
Ooh. So some of the stuff will be savory because obviously we've got ham left. We've got
Right.
all sorts of bits and pieces left that could happily be added to. I'm just going to make the one batter, and people can put a spoon of that in the press, put their fillings on top, a little bit more of the batter, and then just squish.
Yep.
You know,
and it's a great idea.
Not difficult.
No. So it's just common sense. You got these ingredients sitting here. Why not do it while you have it? Because even if you don't eat it, you can freeze it.
Oh, absolutely.
For future use,
Absolutely. I mean, if I make pancake batter, I'm probably the only one in the house that makes pancakes unless Bam is over. So I just make all the pancakes up and put them in the freezer.
Right.
Because otherwise I'll be eating pancakes for a week. So.
But I mean, the other things you can think of too. What about you already have either squash or pumpkin or yams, sweet potatoes in a puree, assuming you haven't done anything major to them.
Yeah.
Use those for gnocchi or a homemade pasta or a filling in a pie of some sort, cranberry sauce. I mean, homemade cranberry sauce. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things you can do with the leftover items.
Absolutely. I mean, Chris from Chris and Larry's Homestead had an awesome idea, and it's something that they do every single year, and they make turkey egg rolls.
Yes.
Turkey cranberry ones, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
I know she's got a video on it.
Yes, she does. I know
she has a video on it. So, it'd be very well worth having a look.
Right. Yeah. I think a little bit of it is just really doing some research and type into YouTube, if that's what you're going to use, and say, what can I do with leftovers? You will get a ton of ideas of things to use. You can make turkey meatballs for meatball, yada, 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 whatever it is. You can use seafood. You can make a stuffing for an egg roll type thing,
Absolutely.
Don't limit yourself to a box. No. It's an ingredient. That's the way to treat it.
Absolutely. And then, one of the biggest things that we do when we do have turkey, and we didn't have turkey this year, is I do a curry. Because that's it. I can't talk to you no more. Why?
Because you didn't do a turkey. I'm done. I'm out. Sorry.
Well, I would have done it, but you were busy cooking your own dinner, and I had enough to do.
Yeah, we had two of them. You should have come over.
Well, we had steak.
The more and more I hang around with you, the more I'm realizing you're bougie.
It can be. But we do it on a budget. We do it on a budget.
I know. I'm just giving you crap.
Yeah. But we do simple food, but it's good food.
Right.
And we make.
You wanted to be woke up.
We make use of the deals that we get.
Sorry. Yes.
Right? When we have a friend of a friend who runs a pub, who is able to get cheap meat. I'm not going to say no to £50 that is going to get us a full sirloin strip.
Right.
So we bought 2. So out of 1, you get 20 steaks.
Where's mine?
Well, door's open, dude.
Oh, no. I want delivery service also. Okay.
By the time it got to you, it would be worse than aged. I can't even tell you.
We call that long-term aging.
No.
But the whole point is there's tons of things you can do with your leftovers. Just be creative about it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at mac and cheese, all right? How many millions of things can you chuck in mac and cheese?
Almost everything.
Almost everything. Okay, so that's one thing.
Or everything.
Everything. What about side dishes, though?
Hit me
See,
with
one
it.
of
I'll
the
give
things-
you an example.
So one of the things that I did last year is we had loads of potatoes left over that had been cooked. I added cream, I added onions, I added mushrooms, I added bacon, I added ham, whatever we had, and a bit of grated cheese. Some of them didn't have grated cheese because by that point I'd run out of the cheese, which is fine.
Right.
Because you can put it on afterwards.
Yep.
When you're ready. And I made potato bakes to go in the freezer to pull out with one of the pies I'd already made. So I've already got the pie, I've already got the potato. Somewhere in the freezer there's going to be peas or beans or something.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you didn't do that, you've already got a full meal.
Right.
Because there's already veg in the pie.
Right.
There's already veg in the potato bake, depending on how you make it.
Right.
So it's not like you're doing
when
without.
you say potato bake, what do you mean by that? Because I'm a little confused.
I mean, chopping up the potatoes into like eighths or chunks, good chunks.
Okay.
A nice mouthful chunk, right?
Right.
And then adding cream to that, maybe a little bit of garlic if you wanted to.
Right.
You can use cream cheese if you want to do that. We put in ham because we had ham shreds still, so I chucked some of those in there. We had mushrooms that have been left over from doing Christmas breakfast.
Okay, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, though. You're talking like a personal pie is what you mean by a bake?
No.
Okay.
No. It goes in it goes in your container and you just stick it in the oven, right? And you pull it out. You just
like a shepherd's pie or a country pie, that kind of theory. I mean, put it like a casserole. No, I'm not saying make it that way. It's like a casserole. You just throw it in the oven when you say bake.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I was trying. I didn't understand what bake was. Sorry.
Okay. If it goes in the oven, it gets baked. If it's meat, it gets roasted.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's so good.
Anyway, so you do the potato bake. You got the what was the other thing we were talking about? I don't even remember now.
I can't remember. But I mean, there's all these options.
Yes. Potatoes, mashed potatoes. We take mashed potatoes and we fry them like little pancakes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can stuff any of those items from your leftovers into that too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So absolutely. Here, I'm going to name some things off and you tell me what you would do with these items. Okay.
Okay.
We already talked about potatoes.
Yep.
What would you do? Give me two things you would do with turkey, leftover turkey.
Leftover turkey. Leftover turkey tends to go number one into a curry, and number two goes into a roast dinner pie for us.
Okay, but there's two ideas right there. Okay,
that's two ideas, but that's what we do.
Right, I would do either soup. It's going to go in the freezer for a future meal.
Yeah,
we also can use it as protein in a meat pie, like you had said.
Yeah,
a casserole or bake, whatever it is. I mean, there's multiple things you can do with that. That's an easy thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And the famous one around here is the sandwiches you can have with it too.
Exactly. Which is why we have the sliced meat.
Right.
Yep.
And I think Big Valley Living, they do a hot turkey sandwich the day after. That's their meal. So you can convert a meal into a meal, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next one for you. Cranberry sauce. What would you do with that leftover?
We don't eat cranberry sauce like you guys eat it. I know. But it's American thing. It's
America.
It's America. Okay. But what I do use cranberry sauce for is when I make my Yule log.
And that makes sense.
So what I do is I've got my chocolate Swiss roll, or the sponge that I'm making the Swiss roll for, and then I will put a layer of the cranberry sauce or cranberry jam type stuff on there, and then I'll put my cream, my chantilly cream, and then I'll roll it up. and that's how I use my cranberry sauce. But
So-
we don't usually use it like you guys use it.
which is a crime in itself, but that's beside the point. Rebecca, Suburban Hillbilly on the turkey, she said turkey curry or turkey pho. There's two ideas.
Turkey
Okay.
pho sounds really good.
Right. And I'm going to steal her idea because it sounded good when I seen it earlier. Real cranberries, take and put in a pastry. And then if adding my own thing to it, throw cream cheese into it. Can you imagine the turnover you could make with that?
That could be really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your next item. Stuffing.
Okay. Stuffing. We do, if we have stuffing left
Or
over,
dressing, whatever
or
you
dressing,
call it.
we
Sorry.
want to call it. We
Right.
just call it stuffing. We don't do.
We
I
do
got
too.
very confused when people started calling it dressing. I'm like, yeah, it's stuffing. It's just in a pan.
Yeah.
So it's just okay. So basically, when I do my Christmas dinner pie, I will put little bite-sized bits of stuffing in it.
Right. Right.
We do that with it.
Now I've done three different things with stuffing. I've used it in a turkey soup as the seasoning bits. Okay.
Yeah.
I've also put it in a pan with some turkey on it.
Yeah.
And then cracked 2 scrambled eggs over the top, and that had been a breakfast.
So
I didn't mean to make you choke. Sorry.
no, it sounds great. But if you guys saw my quiche, my Christmas dinner quiche recipe,
Yep.
you can put your leftover stuffing on that.
Yes. Yes. Agreed.
You know,
Okay. Here's your next thing. Green beans.
green beans cooked or raw.
Let's go with cooked, I'm assuming.
They will probably end up in the pie for us. Or
Okay.
if we have got raw ones left over, because we don't tend to always cook all of them,
Mhm.
I will blanch them, put them in the freezer.
Okay.
That's
So
the quickest way for us.
I would
Yeah.
do it in a soup or green bean
Yeah.
casserole. That's what we would do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, green bean casserole, I look at that and I just go, no. No
Okay,
thanks.
but there's people here that love it, so that's what
Of course there is, and that's fine for you. But we're talking about what you guys do, and that's
Yeah,
and what
well,
we do.
you'd cook okra, and I can't stand it. So I mean, there you go.
I cooked it. I've never eaten it.
Anyway, okay, so here's a good question. Here's one that we haven't talked about theoretically.
Yeah.
What do you do with all the desserts you have left over?
What desserts that get left over?
Let's say pumpkin pie to start with. We rarely have any left over, so it's a hard thing for me.
Yeah, we tend not to have leftovers. But what I tend to do, because we don't do things like pumpkin pie. But we have.
I'm done talking to you. Once we're off here, we're done. Okay.
Whatever. That's our blue. You can't do that.
Her.
Okay, it's our blue. We can't do
Oh, now I'm getting it from Tanya too. Wonderful.
that.
Continue. I guess you have freedom of speech around here. Go for it.
One of the things that you can do with leftover sponges, and like if you've got like cupcakes and stuff like that left over, is you can use that to make a trifle.
And then that's it. I was going to get to that eventually. Yep. All of your
absolutely.
breads, like we have banana bread or pumpkin bread, and even whether you like it or not, what's that? Fruitcake. Fruitcake can be used.
Fruitcake. Fruitcake. Leftover fruitcake. Get yourself a tub of vanilla ice cream.
Yes, there you go. But you could do that with the pumpkin pie. You could make an ice cream
You
trifle
could.
with that.
You could, but if you what you do is you break up the Christmas cake or the Christmas pudding into pieces and mix it into the ice cream and put it back in the fridge to set, so that you've got like a ice cream pudding.
Yep.
And yeah, that's really good.
I
That's
think
pretty
they get the point I'm trying to make is that
Yeah.
there are multitudes of things to do with the leftovers. Don't throw
so
them away.
many.
Try to find something either to repurpose them into freeze them for future use, do something with them, because there's no need to throw it away in reality.
No, absolutely. And I think when you start actually food prepping with them and making things into meals, you'd be really surprised at how far these things go. I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. The amount of meals that I made that would have lasted Tanya and I 16 weeks. You know, I mean, yes, we're 2 adults and we don't have a full family, but even a family, that would have done a month's worth of food easily. Yeah. Easily 1 month's worth of meals. Now that could be life-saving when it comes down to January, because most of the people over here only get paid once a month. So if just before Christmas they tend to try and do the payment for everybody, the December payment for everyone, that means that you've got a week or 2 extra until January's payment. Now, if you can turn all of those leftovers into meals, even if you're putting them in the freezer or whatever, you then have meals that you don't need to worry about. And so that then all you're having to get is maybe bread and milk. Right.
And the other thing to take into thought process, anybody that would use it, or if people you know are using them, December into January is the worst time of year for food banks. They've ran low and they're not getting extras in until the end of January, typically, if they do. So
and it is when people struggle the most with their mental health as well. Right. So please do keep an eye on your friends. I know Bam and I haven't got a video out yet. I'm very sorry about that. But like I said, I've been run off my feet. We've not been well. And I've been trying to keep up with things as I can. I'm trying to get that out before New Year's now. Okay, so but it will come out. Just be warned. There's some heavy hitting stuff in it. So
I will tell normal people that do not suffer here. I can't talk now. Normal people that do not suffer from mental health issues may find because I've seen it, this video hard to deal with. So knowing from that perspective, those that do suffer with the mental illness may have a harder time with it. Okay. Yeah. But
there will be trigger warnings on it.
There is warnings, and it speaks the truth and fact of the matter. That's the importance behind it. So
yes, but as you can hear, Bam is here.
Yes.
He's still under my roof. Yes. We're still fine. No one was hurt making this. No one is upset.
No blues or Bams were harmed or injured in the filming of
this. No blues or Bams were hurt in the making of this video. Okay. But I think
it speaks volumes to the point, though, and I want to get that out there, because I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to, but I think it hit me in looking at consideration, and we need to, So
and SADS is absolutely real, Rebecca. I completely get that. I've got a few friends that do it. Liz Zorab is By the Farm is very, very open about the fact that she has SADS. And she struggles quite a lot in the winter.
Can you tell others that may not know what that stands for?
Okay, that means seasonal depression, basically. Seasonal activated depression, I think it is. So basically, if you don't get enough sun, if there's not enough warmth, it will be an issue, which is why you go down really, really bad. One of the things that she has is a sun lamp, and she uses it because obviously we live in a country where it's very cloudy, it can be very wintry, and
you're known for the fog. I mean,
we're known for the fog. A lot of things to do with it. So she uses that when she can't go outside, because there are times when the weather is just horrendous. As you know, I mean, like, our wind here has been enough that it blew open our electric box. Last night, and that's got to be like 60-70 mile winds. That's it's not easy to open that.
Right. Suburban Hillbilly. If you ever have a problem in February, just remember these two things. One of the best people in the world was born in that month. And it's the anniversary of the start of Kettle Kitchen.
There you go. Winter can be depressing, but for me, I find, because I do get a little bit, not hugely, I do get a little bit, but I find that the Christmas lights help for me.
Right.
Because they give me that sparkle, that little bit of warmth, that little bit of extra that I don't normally get because I can't go outside. So that's why the Christmas decorations are really important to me, because it helps build up my dopamine levels to keep me going for the rest of the winter and stuff like that. So that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I'm older than Tony G. That really helps.
How did we play out that you could be older than me?
I don't know. I see a lot of folks grocery shopping and having to really cut corners. Yeah, I have to say that it's pretty bad over here. I mean, okay, so I used to spend £70, probably £70 when I went and did the shopping for a 2-week shop. So $70, whatever you want to call it. And that would fill the trolley. It's about a third full now for that money. So being part of groups like Edible York, which is on Facebook, the Freegan Association, which is on Facebook, all of these sorts of resources are really, really important because, they're free resources for food that are out there, right. And I mean, we were offered some fruit cups today, but we weren't able to make it because the car had to go in for MOT. But, I'm also aware that they still have a lot of parsnips available. And I'm sitting there going, but I'm the only one who eats them. And can I use them in a way that is worthwhile? Yes, I do want to do a more in-depth look at ways of preserving these vegetables. But do I want to do it right now? The answer to that is no, I don't.
Right.
So I don't want to take those vegetables away from somebody else that could use them. So I'm choosing not to. One of the things that I found absolutely abhorrent, and poor Tony had to put up with me ranting and ranting and ranting and ranting because I went off the deep end. Now,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Many of us belong to different preserving groups on Facebook. And when I was, because some of the supermarkets over here were doing deals on what is classified as Christmas vegetables, and they were having them on offer, and they price capped at last year's Christmas prices, which was anywhere between 15p and 19p a packet, when normally they're anywhere between 70p and £1.50 a packet. Okay, and they can go above that as well. So depending on what time of year it is, how big the packet is, what sort of veg they are, that kind of thing. So they were really important to a lot of people over here because we have a third of the country in poverty right now, and 15% of those are in destitution.
Right.
And to put like a little clarification on that, 15% of those people is the equivalent to either 3/4 of the population of Greater London or the next 4 biggest cities in the country combined. That is not a small number of people. That is a lot of people. And what I was seeing was a couple of people in particular who had bought 50 bags of each. Now, I understand that they're on offer and what have you, and they're there for anybody, and the supermarkets weren't putting a cap on them. But to me, if you have the resources to do that, you don't need them. You know, that to me was, we had already decided that we were only going to get 5 bags of each, or 5 individual things of each. So we weren't spending any more than £6. So £1 of potatoes, £1 for carrots, £1 for Brussels sprouts. And we would have enough to not only preserve some for later, but for what we needed for fresh, and do that. And it wouldn't be so much that I couldn't get on top of it, because Tanny wasn't getting paid till Friday before Christmas, and we couldn't do the shopping until Saturday. And when we got to the shop, there was nothing left. There was literally nothing left. There was no potatoes left. There was only 2 baskets of each of the bags of stuff. So we only got 2 bags of what we could get. Right. Now, I know that a lot of those people wouldn't have been paid until the Friday. And yet there was a bunch of people in different preserving groups that were going out and buying 20 to 50 bags each.
Right.
On the Monday when it first started. You know, and it's devastating, because there were people in tears in the supermarket because they couldn't get them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like how it was in lockdown, where people weren't able to make use of the resource that had been made available to them. You know, yeah, sure, the supermarkets are still making a mozza out of it, let's be honest. But it would have been nice if they put a cap on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for one person to go in and buy 50 bags of carrots, 50 bags of potatoes, 50 bags of Brussels sprouts, that's 2 trolley loads of vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they've got the resources to do that on the Monday, they could have waited till after Boxing Day, which was the day after Christmas Day over here, and waited until they'd gone on offer.
Right.
Because all of the veg gets marked down by 50 to 70% off, because it's been sitting in storage for the last couple of days, and they can't put it back in the fridges. It's got to stay where it is on the shelves. So they want to get rid of it. So it all gets marked down. Now, if they could have done that, and that wouldn't have been a problem. But what upset
still gotten it for a discounted price.
We got it for discounted. But what upset me was that we couldn't, you know, there were people out there who were relying on that wouldn't have been able to pick any up. And that was gutting. It was absolutely gutting.
Right.
You know, because like I said, these are the people I work with. And what you guys don't know is that I've been accepted onto a business course for social enterprise businesses, which is fully funded by the government. Because what I do in workshops and groups and things has been seen as a social enterprise and important enough to them to sponsor me to do this course, so that I can then run what I do as a social enterprise business, which means that I have a shortlisting to funding, I have a better chance of bigger funding, and I can help more people do what I do. And that's what I really feel that I'm here to do. And I've always felt that way ever since 2000, year 2000. I want to say the year 2000 is when it all started. So it's taken 23 years to get to this point, but, you know, but yeah, I just, you know, anyway. So that's what's happening next year. So I'm not quite sure when I'm going to be getting videos up, but I'm going to be trying. Okay. So, and I'm going to be getting as many out as I can. One of the things that I am doing next year is I'm doing a 1 job a day for 365 days.
Oy
now,
vey.
Oh. But that is going to be a weekly video. It's going to be a weekly video. Okay. And it will come out on a Monday. So the first one.
That's like me saying, I think I'm going to do 20 more collaborations this year than I did the year before.
The first one will be coming out on the 8th of January. So Monday the 8th. But I want to show people that even doing just one small thing each day can stock your pantry whether you're stocking your pantry, your fridge, your freezers, whatever, you just need to do one thing. And even if that's sowing seeds and starting your garden out, do you know what I mean? So that you can actually start growing your own things. If that's one of your jobs for the day, do that.
Right.
You know, but it's all about being a little bit more self-sufficient and that kind of thing. So, you know, it is a 52 video commitment, and that's not including collaborations. I'm just saying.
Shut the front door.
I know. Yeah, and at some point during the year, I'm going to be going for surgery. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure how long that's going to take for me to recover. But does that mean that I won't be able to do anything? No.
You can't do it in June or July. I forbid it to happen.
What?
You have 2 collaborations in June and July. I'm joking 100%.
Oh my goodness. Bless her.
Oh, come on, Rebecca. Give me a little credit. She didn't think I was going to say shut the front door.
Wow, you know, it's my channel. Anything can happen.
Anything's possible. You are correct.
I'm pretty sure the dog motherer will tell you that on Twitch I'm not quite as not quite
mellow?
As
filtered,
diplomatic.
Diplomatic. Diplomatic.
Words are said. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Wendy says, I have to get this house done before I can host my first collaboration, but I plan to. That would be awesome. Please do let us know about it, darling, because we would be loved to be a part of that and support you.
Yes. Well,
it is amazing for the opportunity, and I really do appreciate you guys' support, because honestly, if I probably wouldn't have gotten to this point if it hadn't have been for the support that I get from you guys. You know, and I'm not going to lie about that. That's truth. That's truth right there. Because, you know, it can be hard trying to do this stuff on your own, you know?
Yep.
But as I've always said, my number one rule is, as long as I'm helping one person, then it's worth it.
Yes, I agree.
And that's the same with what I do with the workshops and the groups and things that I'm actually starting next year, that I will be running at the Haven in York, for people who go there, which is a mental health community centre for people with mental health difficulties. And I've been asked to start there first. So that's what I'm doing. It's just working our way around of what we're allowed to do, because it is a council-run facility and certain things are allowed and certain things aren't. So it's just working out what the best ways of doing different things are. And that's cool. But, you know, we got to start somewhere, right? And
yes,
that's what I'm doing. So, yeah. So I hope you guys have had lots of ideas for leftovers. Things that you can do for zero waste stuff.
Do you see over there?
Oh, Annette!
I don't think you fully.
I
don't think you fully realize how many people you have helped.
I probably don't, but I also probably don't want to know.
Okay, fair point. Fair point.
And that's not anything against you guys at all, but I don't want to get overwhelmed with it. And that's very easy for me to do, is get very overwhelmed with the bigger picture and everything else. So I have to concentrate.
All I'm trying to do is don't sell yourself short on what you do.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I did have a goal this year that I did want to reach at my 1,000 before my birthday, but unless some miracle occurs, not sure that's going to happen, because that's like in Tuesday. But that's okay.
Fast approaching is what we call that.
Hey, it is fast approaching. Yes,
Yes.
it is fast approaching, but that's okay, because I love you guys, and I think we have a wonderful community here that is very supporting of each other, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't think you realize how much I appreciate each and every one of you, because I really, really do. You know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Blue is motivational, but also lets me know it's okay on the frustrating days when my body doesn't work like it used to. Love her for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the reality of it. Let's be honest. Not all of us have physical or mental health that is, 100% all of the time, and we've just got to do what we can do.
Right.
These friendships are so strong. They are, my darling. Just wish we all lived closer. One day, who knows, we could end up with transporters and be able to pop into each other's houses for a brew.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, we've got the tablet, we've got we've got all of the little fancy gadgets and stuff that they had, but I would like a transport, please. Yes.
Yep.
So, any last words, Mr. Tony? Because I know that we've gone a little bit over today.
Just take life one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Specifically about the subject matter for the day for the video is there's tons of things out there you can do with that food. You just got to be willing to think outside your box and
absolutely
take a chance that something will work out, because you can always make a base of things that you can use later.
Absolutely. What I really love about using cooked leftovers for other meals is it doesn't take as long to cook either.
No, and that's a valid point.
It's already done. So basically what you're doing is you're either making the pastry golden and heating it through, and that's it. You're just pretty much warming it up.
No, and that's why, in using stuffing in the soup, I finish the soup in the last 5 minutes. I throw the stuffing in. By the time it comes around, because it's already cooked, it is almost disintegrated, and it's the spices you're getting out of it and thickener that helps thicken the soup. So you are spot on that. I mean, it lessened your cook time too, which is something we didn't talk about, but it does.
And it means you don't have to do things like roux because you put the stuffing in, because you've already got your thickening agent there.
Try to treat it like an ingredient, like we said, more than, this is stuffing that already has something in it, I can't do nothing with it.
Sure,
it's an ingredient in itself to use for something else. So
absolutely.
That's it. Happy New Year.
Yes.
I guess would be the other thing.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Blue, because your birthday will have already happened before we see you again.
It will have. And I just want to give you guys this wish and blessing. May the best of this year be the worst of the next.
I like that.
Yeah. Love you guys heaps. Thank you so, so much. Just stay safe, stay good. And if you need anyone to talk to, just do reach out, okay? And we will talk to you guys later on. Ooh, over on his channel tomorrow morning. Ooh. Well, it's tonight, isn't it, for you?
Tonight. Well, tonight for me,
It's tomorrow morning for me.
Bright and early.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. It's a good job we're friends,
That was funny.
Okay, we'll see you guys later on. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.